Welcome to the deep dive. Today, you're joining us as we get into some really interesting excerpts from Rebecca Yarros's Onyx Storm.
Yeah.
Think of this as like your inside look. We're dropping you straight into this world filled with dragon riders, political tensions that are just stretched super thin, and, this looming war. So your mission today, basically, is to pull out the key conflicts, the character dynamics, which are complex, and the mysteries these bits of text reveal.
Right. We're aiming to give everyone a solid grasp of where things stand right now in this world.
We're not just skimming, we're really trying to extract the crucial info. We've got different character viewpoints, some intense action, and plenty of political maneuvering to sort through.
Exactly. It's like a concentrated hit of this world that's just, well, teetering on the edge. We're going to try and nail down the immediate pressures on the main characters, the fragile power balance, and those, hook questions that grab you right away.
Okay, perfect. Let's get right into it then, starting with the key players and what they're facing right off the bat. First up, Violet Soaringale. What's really pushing her in these early scenes?
Violet is absolutely determined to save Sardine. She's wrestling with this huge fear about his connection or potential connection to the Venom.
The dark magic wielders, yeah.
Right, exactly. And despite a lot of suspicion, even warnings from people she trusts, she's just sticking to her belief in him. She keeps going back to how he protected her before.
So that really sets up a big internal struggle for her, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely.
It sounds like that loyalty itself is kind of rebellious. I mean, she's deliberately swimming against the tide, even if it puts a strain on things with her dragons, Terran and Andarna. And she's stepping into some heavy political stuff, too, it seems.
Absolutely. The whole backdrop is this incredibly tense peace negotiation between Navarre and Pormiel. They've only got, what, 7 days?
Wow. Yeah, tight deadline.
Super tight. Violet's hoping it works out, especially for the writers. But you get this strong feeling from the excerpts that the whole thing could just collapse. And beyond that big international tension, you also see cracks forming within the writer groups themselves. Like, they're not all on the same page.
Okay. And Xaden himself, he's not exactly having an easy time either, right? What's immediately bearing down on him?
Well, he's fighting this terrifying idea that he might become like the Venom, the very thing he's supposed to be fighting.
That's a huge internal battle.
The massive. And it's running alongside all the external political heat he's getting because of his leadership position. And woven through all that is his intense relationship with Violet.
Which sounds like both a strength and maybe a vulnerability.
Exactly. It could be his anchor, or it could be another pressure point in this whole dangerous mess.
And we definitely can't skip Terran and Andarna. They're clearly not just, mounts. They have their own takes on all this.
Oh, for sure. Terran, in his usual pragmatic way, is constantly reminding Andarna about the dangers all around them, especially the risks of, like, hunting dark wielders. And Andarna has her own really interesting goal, finding others like her, the Irids.
Right, the Irids. That sounds important.
Yeah, it seems like a major driving force for her. But it's also presented as something potentially really dangerous, which Terran points out.
This political situation sounds incredibly unstable. Navarre and Pormiel barely talking, the Venom threat growing, internal issues with the writers, and we get mentions of places like Aresha and Tirandor. What's their significance?
So these are other regions in the world, each with its own history and probably its own interests, which might not align with Navarre's.
Okay.
The fact that we see, say, Areshan writers mixed in with Navarian ones, that immediately suggests potential friction, right? Not total unity.
Yeah, makes sense.
Even within the Flyers, you have Mira dealing with issues about how different groups are treated. It just highlights how complex things are internally.
Okay, so we've got the main players, this really volatile setting. Let's start digging into some of the initial mysteries and hooks these excerpts throw at us. The first big one is Azan's potential transformation and Violet just refusing to believe it.
Yeah, that's a huge point of tension right away. Violet's actively pushing back against the idea he's turning dark. She keeps pointing to his protective actions as proof he's still him.
Which creates this immediate drama, right? Is her faith justified, or is she maybe seeing what she wants to see?
Exactly. It raises the stakes massively.
And right alongside that personal drama, you've got the ticking clock on those peace talks. The consequences, if they fail, seem huge.
Oh, absolutely. The excerpts really stress the short time frame. If Navarre and Pormiel can't agree, well, Their ability to fight the Venin together is shot, and there's a real risk they just turn on each other.
That pressure just drives everything forward.
It really does.
Then there's this kind of creepy feeling underneath it all, the hunt for Dark Wielders, and the suspicion that one might be hiding right there among them.
Yeah, that introduces a real element of paranoia, doesn't it?
Totally.
The thought that someone who seems like an ally, maybe even a hero against the Venin, could actually be one, that creates this deep unease. Who can you actually trust?
And then sort of casually re-mentions Violet might be leading a rebellion without even knowing it. Where's that coming from?
It seems to connect back to Violet just doing her own thing, following her gut feeling about what's right, especially saving Xaden when everyone else is scared.
So not like a planned thing, but her actions are having that effect.
Pretty much. She might not be trying to lead a rebellion, but her choices and the loyalty she inspires could definitely look like a challenge to the people in charge. It says a lot about how leadership can just happen.
Interesting. And Darna's quest for the Irids, that sounds like it could open up a whole new can of worms. Terran seems pretty nervous about it.
Yeah, Taryn's warnings to both Violet and Andarna really emphasize the risks involved in looking for this hidden group. I mean, the fact that the Irids hid themselves away suggests they might not want to be found. So the mission itself feels dangerous. Why did they hide in the first place? That's a big question.
We also get this quick but really intriguing mention of isles without magic. In a world all about dragons and magic, what could that mean?
Right. The existence of places without magic, it makes you question the fundamentals.
I do.
Is magic, like, tied to certain places? Did it used to be everywhere and then pull back? Even if the excerpts don't fully explore it right then, it hints at a much deeper history, a more complex world. And later, we actually see Violet go to one.
Oh, okay. So they become more important.
Yeah, definitely seems that way.
And then, huge development. Brennan Sorrengail is back. He was presumed dead. That has to change everything.
Oh, completely. Brennan showing up again just throws a wrench in the works. He's at the negotiating table. He's talking directly to Violet. It suggests he's got a massive role to play.
Yeah, in the politics and for Violet personally.
Exactly. What's he been doing? What does he really want now? Big questions there.
The political web seems to get even thicker, with characters like Dane Ados, the Duchess of Moraine, King Tori, Viscount Icarus. They all sound like they have their own agendas.
Yeah, definitely. They represent different power bases, potential points of conflict, maybe even alliances. You see the Duchess questioning where poor Mish cadets are placed hints of mistrust there. King Tori won't open his borders, that points to old tensions. And Viscount Icarus seems kind of shady, maybe holding some dangerous secrets.
The threat level itself seems to jump up. There's mention of a new enemy called the Sage, and Venin activity is increasing, including a really bad attack on a place called Suniva.
Right, that signals a serious escalation. The Sage sounds like maybe a smarter, more strategic Venin leader, and the attack on Suniva, that brings the war's devastation right to ordinary people, raising the stakes for everyone involved.
Alliances seem to be shifting too. We hear about forces arriving from Cygnison. What does that signal?
It shows the conflict is spreading, pulling in regions beyond just Navarre and Port-Emile. These Cygnison forces are new players. They'll have their own reasons for being there, their own loyalties. It just complicates the power balance even more.
Then a really significant moment. Ligadin loses his shadow-wielding ability. That's got to be a fundamental shift for him.
Oh, huge. It strips him of something core to his identity, his power. It makes you wonder how he can protect himself, protect Violet. It's bound to have massive psychological and strategic fallout. How does he even cope?
Yeah, wow. And Violet's finding these cryptic messages left by her dead father. Sounds like he knew things, was leaving her clues.
Exactly. These hidden instructions suggest her father knew more than he let on, maybe preparing her for what was coming. Figuring out these messages seems key to understanding the world's deeper secrets, and maybe Violet's own path.
We also get these hints, these whispers of possible betrayals, hidden truths about Violet's parents, the real history between Navarre and Port-Emile. Like, the official story isn't the whole story.
Yes. The excerpts definitely suggest a more complicated, maybe darker history between these places. Secrets, deceptions, things buried for a long time that are starting to come out.
Which could totally change the current political game.
And force characters to rethink everything they thought they knew.
And just when you think things can't get more complicated for Xaden, his mother reappears. He thought she was dead.
Yeah, after years believing that, her showing up again must be incredibly emotional. And she probably holds keys to his past, to what shaped him. Their interactions are bound to be intense, full of unresolved stuff.
Towards the end of these excerpts, the tension just skyrockets. Dreyfus is under attack, heavy losses, feels like a major turning point.
It definitely represents a major escalation. The fight comes right to a key location, and the cost is devastating. It just hammers home the immediate danger and the terrible price of this war.
And then we find out Eric has precognition. He can see the future. That changes how you see him completely.
Totally recontextualizes him. His ability makes him potentially invaluable, but also really hard to read. You see hints he might be subtly guiding Violet, like he knows more about what's coming.
And finally, Xaden makes this incredible sacrifice, giving up his connection to his power, Scale's power too, presumably, for the greater good. That feels huge.
It's a massive act of selflessness, right? It really shows his growth, his commitment beyond just himself. But the long-term cost for him and for Scale, that's likely to be profound.
Yeah, you feel that weight. And even with all that major action, there's this chilling mention of missing dragons and riders. Just adds another layer of worry.
It really does. These disappearances amplify that feeling of unknown threats. It suggests there are forces out there strong enough to take down even dragons and riders, making everyone feel more vulnerable.
Okay, wow. These excerpts really do paint a picture of a world just balanced on a knife edge. You feel the pressure on personal loyalties constantly, and it seems like old secrets are bubbling up everywhere.
Definitely. And that bond between Violet and Xaden is under immense strain, internally and externally.
Yeah. The whole political situation is just incredibly fragile, and the Venan threat is clearly getting worse, maybe smarter.
Exactly. The characters are constantly scrambling for information, for allies, making these impossible choices that have huge, often devastating ripple effects.
So many questions left hanging, like, will Violet actually manage to save Xaden from whatever darkness is pulling at him?
Right. And can Navarre and Poromil actually team up properly, or are they just going to end up fighting each other?
And the Irids. What's their real story? What part will they play?
And those secrets Violet's father left behind, how are they going to change things for her?
Then there are those Isles without magic. What's their deal? Are they a refuge? A trap? Something else entirely?
And what really pushed Xaden to make that sacrifice?
Ooh.
What does that mean for him and Stuck long term?
How powerful is Eric's foresight? How much does he know? And how will that shape events?
And who are the missing dragons and riders? What happened to them? Just another dark mystery hanging out there.
These glimpses into Onyx Storm really show a world where, yeah, power, love, sacrifice, they're all tangled together. You see the characters facing these incredibly complex choices, the weight of responsibility on them.
Makes you think about those pressures.
For sure. We've really only scratched the surface here, haven't we? There are clearly much deeper currents, history, magic, destiny still waiting to be explored.